Take everything you knew about the meta, get it all up, but put it all together in a nice little pile, and just throw it away. Just get rid of it, because Overwatch is changing. If you haven't been following the PTR changes, even if you have, I do not think you are prepared for what we are about to encounter. The best meta. The changes that just went live, I think, put Overwatch in the most balanced state and potentially the most fun state it has ever been in. Let's talk about it. Assault heroes. Soldier 76 is viable again. He does a lot more damage than he used to, and burst firing with him is now more rewarding than it was last patch. You can actually notice your burst fire and actually, predict your bullets and prevent spread. It's weird, it's hard to explain, but basically you can burst fire with Soldier 76 again, which shall hopefully make him be able to compete with McCree. Now, I still think McCree's going to win 1v1s, but Soldier against tanks is really good. His spread is wider now, but against tanks that doesn't matter. And with his new higher damage output, I think Soldier could be seen taking out tanks everywhere, which potentially could help to end the stupid tank meta. Do these buffs to Soldier make Pharah less viable? No, because Pharah has seen some major mobility buffs. If you want, you don't even need to land anymore. With all this newfound mobility, Pharah will be harder to hit than ever before. Oh, and we have a new hero. Sombra. Sombra? Look, you guys keep correcting me, but even the Lucio voice actor says Sombra. Regardless, though, she's in the game, and I strongly advise against playing her early on. New heroes will always have very low win rates, and Sombra is kind of weak on top of that, meaning she won't be a very good pick, at least early on. Let other players, like the pro players, learn how to play her before you take her into competitive. That's my opinion on the issue. Defense heroes. Mei doesn't get her ult instantly anymore, so now we won't have to spend 90% of the time in the game frozen. Fantastic work, Blizzard. You really outdid yourself on this one. Torbjorn is now totally busted too, kind of, at least at low ranks. I mean, this guy is still probably going to dominate down there, and we could potentially see him at higher ranks as well, because he passively gains scrap now for his armor, and his turrets no longer give enemies ult charge when shot at. Looks like Sweden actually has something to be proud of other than this guy. I've saved the best defensive change for last. As a true Kefri fanboy, I am super pumped about how OP Widowmaker is going to be. Totally busted. Okay, not really busted, but she will definitely be viable now. Her shots charge faster, and she scopes in faster. So, we COD now, boys. We're going to see quick scopers and trick shotters everywhere. Personally, I think this is a great change, and the best thing that comes out of it is the fact that FaZe Clan, they can actually win a game now. Okay, all shade aside, Widowmaker is going to be the new Genji. I firmly believe it. People with bad aim and game sense are going to struggle with her still, but those with good aim and good Widowmaker skills are going to dominate. And with tanks hopefully being less powerful, we'll talk about that in a minute, Widow will be insane, and I would love to see her in pro play. Tanks, yeah, let's talk about them. I said tanks were weaker now, but only one was directly nerfed. So let's talk about those changes. Zarya now gains charge 20% slower than she used to, so she's really going to need to place her bubbles properly and focus on defending her team more than dealing damage. Although, I'm not even too sure about that. She's still going to do a lot of damage. Her maximum charge is still the same, and it still decays at the same rate, so once a Zarya gets charged, a good Zarya will remain charged, and I don't think it's going to change too much in that aspect. It just kind of makes it a little bit harder to get charged. So she's still going to be very good. I still think she's going to be maybe even a must pick, the only tank that is a must pick hopefully in this next patch, but who knows. Let's talk about D.Va. D.Va was buffed. I still hate her just as much as before. Don't worry, guys. I absolutely despise that hero. She didn't receive an anti-Lone Hawk hates this hero buff, but she now has an extra 100 HP, and she moves a little bit faster when she's shooting, which means she charges enemy ults even more. Okay, just kidding. All seriousness, the movement changes are pretty good. They make her a little bit more viable, and I don't see her being a top-tier tank, but the extra HP she has and her disruption abilities I think it brings her more in line with the other tanks, but since I think tanks as a whole are going to be a little bit weaker this patch due to the Nano Boost nerf, which we will talk about, I don't see D.Va being a top tier pick. I don't see that happening at all. But she is more viable than she was before, I'd say, or at least in relation to other tanks she is. So anyway, on to the topic of why tanks are weaker now. I've said it like 10 times. I might as well explain it. Well, Soldier 76 and Pharah were buffed, and they both do pretty well against tanks. They can both hit them from a pretty good range where tanks can't do too much to them. Widowmaker was buffed as well, and although she's not like an apparent anti-tank hero, she does very well against tanks. It only takes 2 headshots to kill a Roadhog or a Winston, and when enemies kind of move in front of the shield that Reinhardt's holding up, or they aren't behind the shield, Widowmaker completely ignores the shield, basically. I mean, she can't shoot through it, but she can shoot around it, and when she has a good vantage point, that means a lot. So with those 3 heroes being buffed, I do think tanks are going to be a little less viable. Also, even though Sombra or whatever, even though she's weak, I still think she will be somewhat of a tank counter. Every tank in the game relies heavily on their abilities. Roadhog needs that hook, Reinhardt needs his shield, and D.Va, like, oh my gosh, D.Va without her abilities is going to be nothing. So with Sombra in the game, I think tanks are going to be a little bit weaker as well. But maybe not so much early on, because I still don't think Sombra is going to be good early on. And the one last thing that makes tanks much weaker than they were before are the Nano Boost nerfs, or the one nerf that Nano Boost received. It no longer gives you a speed boost. So heroes like Reinhardt and Winston, who kind of relied on that speed boost, although Winston not so much, are going to be definitely nerfed. Reinhardt is probably not going to be a good Nano Boost target anymore, because everyone can just run away from him. He has no gap closer other than his charge, and that's not optimal. Winston might still be good because he can jump, and I can still see him being a Nano Boost target, and maybe D.Va because she moves a little bit faster. But I don't think tanks are going to be nearly as good when nano boosted anymore. I actually think more assault type heroes are going to be nano boosted. You're going to see Reaper still. I do think Reaper will still be nano boosted. I think that's a good combo. I do think maybe some new defensive heroes could be nano boosted. I mean, I love comboing Molten Core with nano boost. I don't know if it's viable, but it's super fun. And with Torbjorn being better now, who knows? It could be a strategy. I'm not sure. But I do think we're going to move away from nano boosting tanks as much and hopefully get a little more diversity with the nano boost, which is why I think tanks are going to be weaker. Now, let's go about to supports. Supports, yes. Saving the last, not the least, though. Words are hard for me today. Anyway, supports. Ana obviously got the Nano Boost nerf, which we kind of just talked about, so she won't be a must-pick anymore. Bringing my favorite healer, Zenyatta, back into the meta. I love the DPS healers. They're so much fun. Also, Mercy is harder to kill now, so I'll only flame my teammates a little bit for picking her. Okay, well, she actually regenerates health much faster, only 1 second out of combat or taking damage, and she regenerates her health instead of the 3 seconds it was before. So when she flies away from a flanker, she's probably going to get to full health, because flankers are going to have a hard time shooting her while she's flying, depending on where they're flying to. So I think she's going to be a little bit better, but also I think, I'm not sure if she's still going to be a good healer. I mean, I think she's definitely more viable than she was before. But, I mean, Lucio is still so powerful, and Zenyatta is definitely powerful. And that was the power combo a while ago, Lucio-Zenyatta. So I think we're going to see that combo again. But Mercy is definitely not a bad pick anymore, especially in, solo queue games. Maybe in pro games she's still not the best pick. But in solo queue I can see Mercy, doing a lot more than she was before. The last change is potentially the best one. All ultimate charge rates have been decreased, so the game is much less snowball-y and more reliant on non-ultimate strategies, because it takes I think 25% longer to get all of them, and it feels good. It feels really good, really good. If you haven't played it yet, try it out. But the game feels so much less like you're helpless when the enemy team has ults. Because, I mean, there are definitely fights that are unwinnable due to ult advantage on one team and not the other team. And this is going to be much less of the case now, because ultimates are going to be much harder to get. The game will definitely rely more on heroes that don't necessarily need their ultimates to do well, which I think actually hurts Genji a lot. But I mean, we'll save that for another video. I do think Genji is going to be a little bit lacking, maybe, but maybe time will tell. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like down below. Those likes always help me out. Be sure to stay tuned for the Hawk Squad Open this weekend. I'm streaming it at 10 a.m. Central Time on my Twitch, twitch.tv/LoneHawkTV. It's going to be a blast. I'm going to be casting the games. It's going to be so much fun. And yeah, follow me on Twitter for any updates on that or pretty much anything, because later in this week, I might not make as many videos this week because I have the tournament to prepare for, and it's going to be so busy and so much fun. Yeah, so just follow me on Twitter at LoneHawk, that's a 0, not an O, for updates on that kind of thing, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. LoneHawk is gone. Good job, team. You did great. What the heck?
Yeah, I see a thing.
Gray.
Hey!
No!
Fuck.
Yes!
Oh, that was basically where I thought I might have gotten to. I did think the tire died a little too quickly for... Oh yeah, that was actually good. You did it!
Yes! It only took 2 games. Only took 2 games.